Alright folks, it's time for the shop tour. I've been saying for a while that I was going to get you guys out into my garage shop to give you a tour, and today's the day. So, before we go out there, I want to impart some wisdom to you guys. When I was just starting out in welding, I did a lot of research on what was the type of tools I was going to need, just kind of what to expect in general, and it was pretty overwhelming to just look at the vast array of tools that I saw these welders and fabricators using, and I didn't have any of it. I had a welding hood from Harbor Freight, a grinder from Harbor Freight, I had a tape measure, and I think a square, and that was it. But what I ended up doing, and this worked really well for me, was I just started working with that. And, oh, hey guy. I just started working with that, and as I was doing jobs, I would come to a situation where I knew I needed a tool for that specific situation. And then when that happened, I would go out and buy that tool that I needed. So I bought my tools as needed. I didn't go out and buy everything before I started. I couldn't have afforded that anyways. But I think this is a really good way to go because, that's just a good way to slowly accumulate the things that you need. You're not going out and buying things that you might need. You're buying things that you definitely need to get that specific job done. And if you keep doing that over the course of a couple years, you'll eventually have everything you need to do a huge amount of different kinds of jobs. So that's what I did, and it took me a couple years to accumulate all this stuff you're going to see. So don't be overwhelmed. Just slowly accumulate things, and eventually you'll get there. So let's go out there and check it out. Alright, so we're coming out of the house into the garage here. And this is the shop. I recently moved into this house, and I was fortunate enough to have access to this whole garage to set up my shop in. And this is the first time in my life that I've had this kind of space to spread out in and accommodate all the different tools and equipment that I need. And obviously there's a lot of things that I still want to get, a lathe, a mill, a nice big billet sander, things like that. But for now, this is kind of, this is all I really need. I'm able to make knives, I'm able to fabricate most things, and yeah, let's start over in this corner. Oh, and this is not including all the tools on my welding truck. I did a separate video on my welding rig tour, so if you want to go see the tools in my truck, go watch that video. But there are tools that are on my truck that I need when I'm working in the garage. So I just back up my truck like this, I open up that toolbox, and it just kind of serves as yet another workspace and tool storage while I'm working here in the garage. Alright, so I guess we'll start over in this corner. This is the only wooden table in the shop, and it's kind of my sanding area. I've got my little Harbor Freight belt sander here. I definitely need a bigger one, but this thing does okay. I replaced the platen that it came with a custom one that's made of metal. The other one was aluminum. But I made this one bigger, and this enables me to flip this all the way up and grind in swedges or just any kind of sharp angle that I need to get. Harbor Freight has a lot of good tools. Sometimes you have to modify them a little bit to get them how you want them, but this thing has served me pretty well. I have my hand belt sander here. This is what I use kind of as a surface grinder. What I do is I stick it upright like this in the vise, and I just set my blades on top of it using a magnet and get a nice flat surface that way. Also have my rock tumbler here for doing stone washing finishes. And this is kind of my hand sanding area, a bunch of sandpaper. I've got my ferric chloride, acetone, all that type of stuff for acid etching and stone washing. So yeah, this is kind of my sanding area. Next we have this big old Craftsman bandsaw. This thing is a beast. I need to do some tuning on the motor to be able to cut some thicker material, but it works great for cutting out handle material. I use it for cutting micarta or wood. Pretty much it's only used for wood and micarta. I have another bandsaw over there we'll get to that I use for cutting metal. But I was fortunate enough to be gifted this thing, and it's freaking awesome. Next is kind of just whatever table. I've got my big vise bolted down to it. I've got my drill press bolted down to it. I found this thing on Craigslist for $40. This thing has served me really well. I don't need a big old standalone drill press in here. This thing has plenty of power for what I need. And sometimes I'll even put some sanding attachments in this thing and use it kind of as like a right angle sanding kind of deal for blades or whatever. Got my drill bits there. This is kind of my my layout table for my blades. Pretty much I just try to keep it open and clear for anytime I need this kind of space for whatever I'm doing. These are some flowers I'm working on. It's going to end up something like this when I'm done with it. I have these two pieces of leather here for when I'm clamping in blades into the jaws here. I don't want to mar up those the blades with the teeth or the jaws on the vise here, so this just softens it. All right, got my boots there. This is kind of my my leather working desk, or anytime I want to sit down and do some kind of intricate, light kind of work. I've got a lot of chemicals up here, spray paint, WD-40, all kinds of stuff. These are kind of some blades I'm working on here. I do a lot of sketches on this desk, a lot of design stuff. If I'm working on a job and I need to do some sketches for the client, I'll do them at this desk here. So it's nice to have a desk in the garage where you can sit down and be comfortable while you're drawing or whatever you're doing. Next is my toolbox. This is just my brother-in-law gave me the top of this, and then my family got the bottom of it for my birthday one year, and they just happened to fit perfectly on top of one another. Up on the top here, it's mostly just pieces of metal that I'm eventually going to forge into something. There's some half-finished blacksmithing projects I've got going in here. Miscellaneous wrenches, just kind of whatever. I've got some clamps over here. I use these style clamps a lot for leather working. They're really good for that, or really anything, but I primarily use them for leather working. When you've got something gluing, you just clamp it up and easy peasy. Let's see, top drawer, kind of miscellaneous knife stuff. Got some micarta, some pins, some old knives that I made. These are some of the first knives I ever made. Really not very good knives, but they're knives. Let's see. This is miscellaneous hardware. It's got a extra bolt or screw lying around. I toss it in here. This is a tap and die set right here. This is more miscellaneous. Got some pipe wrenches, screwdrivers. This is a really old wood carving set that was from my great-great-grandpa. Don't use those too much, but they're cool, so I keep them. This is leather working stuff here. These are edge bevelers. I forget what this is called. It's used to clean up or kind of round the edges of your leather working, whatever that is. Miscellaneous files. These are some old, I guess, wire cutters. They're beastly. More miscellaneous. This is my my thermometer for heating up my quenching oil and my tempering oven. It's got these sensors that you can just put in whatever you want and reads you the temperature of whatever that is. And this is all leather working stuff. Leather scrap, needles, sinew, rivets, all kinds of leather working stuff, punch. Again, most of my tools are on my truck, So this is kind of just whatever I don't need on my truck, I put in here. Let's see, down here we got sandpaper, steel wool, just stuff, epoxy. And then down at the bottom we got socket set, circular saw, sander, hammer drill, extra leather scraps. That's kind of what that is. Now this next table is my blacksmithing table for the most part. I've got all my tongs down here. The cool thing about blacksmithing is you can really make all your own tools. All of these tongs are handmade by me. I didn't buy the blanks or anything. I just I looked online for some photos of what the blanks looked like, and then I traced them out on a sheet of metal and cut them out, bent them, riveted them together, and yeah, made my own tongs. You can buy tongs, but it's good practice to make your own, and you save money that way, and it's fun. Let's see, over here are some twisting wrenches. These are kind of cool. You have two sides for different size stock. I think this is 3/8, ½ inch. I forget what these two are. Let's see, put those back. Up here I've got some punches and chisels. These are all also handmade. These are made out of, I think they're made out of old U-bolts from a semi-truck, so it's good hardenable steel. I just forged them out and then hardened and tempered them, so they work great. This is just miscellaneous blacksmithing stuff. I've got some hardy hole tooling here. These are some bending forks. These are some more bending forks. And then down here is more hardy hole tools. A hardy hole tool is basically something that you can stick in this hardy hole on your anvil. So that sticks right in there. This is a bridge tool. So if you're working with something that's got something like this that's got a prong on it, you can stick one end in there, so it's kind of shielded while you work on this top part. And same with all these other hardy hole tools. They just stick right in there like that. So yeah, it comes in handy. They're a little loose, but they work just fine. And speaking of the anvil, that's my anvil. I found this at a swap meet for $250. It's not the greatest anvil in the world. I've noticed that the top of it is not super duper hard. If I miss with the hammer stroke, it can dent the surface here. So eventually I need to address that. I might go over the top of it with hard facing rod. I'm not sure if that would do it or not. If you know something about this, let me know. If you know a way that I can harden the face of this anvil. The stand for it is just 4x4s stood on end and held together by these straps and then tightened by these things, whatever they're called. This is my blacksmithing hammer. It's a cross peen hammer. I got this on Amazon. It's the brand is Picard, made in Germany. I really like this thing. It came with a painted handle and a painted head, but I stripped all that off. I gun blued the handle, or no, sorry, I gun blued the head, and then used my torch to kind of give this burnt effect on the handle, and made it the hammer that I wanted it to be. And over on the other side is just a ball peen hammer. And over here, this is the first anvil that I had. This is a homemade one. I have my guillotine tool clamped to the top of it right now. But this was my first anvil. This is just a blade from a loader bucket, so it's good hard stuff. And I just welded it onto this big heavy stand. And this thing served me really well before I had my real anvil. So clamped on top of that is my guillotine tool. This is also handmade. He just likes to chomp hot steel. Basically how that works is, let me find something here. You got a piece of stock that you want to thin down, you stick it in there like that, and then you hit the top of this with your hammer while you're rotating it, and it just kind of creates like a collar around the material. It's kind of hard to explain. I didn't do a great job. But that's what that is. Here's my forge. It's a Mr. Volcano, made in the USA, single burner, but this thing gets plenty hot for my uses. I'm not sure if it gets up to forge welding temperature. I have never tried it. I'm just not sure, but it gets plenty hot enough for me, and it was relatively cheap. I just built this little stand for it. Yeah, really love this thing. So, over here, this is kind of my rolling welding table. This was gifted to me, and whoever had it before left it out in the rain, and it's got a pretty good layer of rust on it. I've started cleaning it off, but it's just really pitted and kind of in rough shape, but it works fine for a welding table. If I need something really nice and flat, I can do something on this table or that table. So I've got my little stick welder down there. This is what I use in the shop. This thing is really recommendable for any beginner welders out there, or even somebody that wants just a little portable stick welder. This was the first welder that I bought. The brand is Amico Power. It's an ARC 160D, and it was around only 200 bucks. So this is a really good stick welder. I've had it for about 4 years now, and it's never failed me. It does a great job. It can hook up to 110 volt outlets or to 20. It's got a little adapter here, so you can use it for just a regular wall outlet or a 220. So that's nice, and it's plenty powerful for welding. I'd say 1/8 inch probably. I don't think you'd really want to weld anything thicker than that unless you're hooking it up to a 220. But I use this thing all the time. If I'm doing something in the shop here, or even out on a job, if it's something small, I don't need to fire up the Trailblazer up there. I can just whip this little guy out. So really, really awesome little welder. Again, they're only about 200 bucks. So really recommendable for anyone starting out. Now this is the newest addition to the shop. This is a Harbor Freight brand Portaband. Little portable bandsaw. But it's not portable anymore because I attached it to this little table. Now you can buy these tables pre-made, but I just decided to make my own. You know, I'm a welder, I can do that. And it's just a way to hold it upright, and it basically acts like a little mini bandsaw over there. But it's got a metal cutting blade, so this is where I cut all my metal. And this thing is surprisingly good. I've cut, I think, like 4-inch pipe on this thing. 2-inch solid stock, and it just cuts right through it. So this thing is really, really nice to have in the shop. You know, previous to owning this, if I wanted to cut some metal, I'd have to bust out the angle grinder with the cutoff wheel, and that's loud and messy, and you know, the cuts aren't exact. Well, I won't say that, but it's loud and messy. So this thing is really, really nice to have. Just click it on when I need it, cut through something real quick, turn it off, and you're good to go. Let's see, back here is just kind of all metal scrap. I've got a lot of metal scrap. Anytime I do a job and I have extra steel left over, I just pile it on the rack here. And it's really nice to have all this stuff, because sometimes I'll get a call for a job where I need to go buy some metal, but I always check this rack first because sometimes I already have what I need. So yeah, I just accumulate a bunch of metal, and yeah, a lot of times I don't need to even go buy it because I already got it. Pretty nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, up here, this is all my my sanding belts for the little Harbor Freight grinder or sander, and then my handheld one. I need to come up with a better system for that, but for now, that's where they go. Let's see. Oh, whoopsie. Let's see. This is This is a sword that I made. It's just made out of mild steel. It's more of just an art piece. It wouldn't stay sharp, but this thing is pretty cool. It's heavier than crap, but it's cool. Yeah. All right, what else? We're pretty much done here. Let's see. We got all that. This was the very first sword I made. I didn't really make it though, because I was 6 or 7 years old, working in my grandpa's shop, and I really wanted a sword, and he made this for me. I think I did a little bit of sanding on it, but he did the bulk of the work. And it's a really fond memory. I remember I was so excited to have a real sword made out of metal, and he made that happen for me. So that's a special thing right there. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my shop, guys. Okay, that was my shop. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions about any of the tools that you saw, anything at all, just type it in the comments. I will answer probably all of them, because I don't have that many subscribers yet, so I'll be able to get to all the questions. And yeah, I appreciate your support on the channel. Like, comment, all that good stuff. And we're slowly creeping up. I think we just passed 300 subscribers, so we're doing okay. When we get to 500, we're going to be doing another giveaway, so stay tuned for that. Who knows, the algorithm could take one of my videos and blow it up. So I mean, that'd be cool. It'd be cool if I woke up tomorrow and I had 500 subscribers. That'd be sweet. I haven't really figured out the whole YouTube thing yet. I tried upping my game on the thumbnails. I've been kind of trying to make more eye-catching thumbnails, and we'll see if that works. But as far as content, I'm really not going to... I'm going to make the videos that I want to make. I'm not going to try to make videos that will attract views. I do what I do because I like doing it, and I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do for the views. So the content's going to stay pretty much the same, and that's just how it's going to be. So stay tuned for some knife reviews coming up. I have 3 knives in the mail that I've acquired through trades recently. All of them that I'm really excited about. So stay tuned for those. I'll probably do unboxings maybe, or just reviews. I'm not sure yet. So stay tuned for that. And love you guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.